Hello everyone, my name is Crow and welcome to I won't call this a Let's Play, I'll call this a first look, because it's kind of what it is. This game's relatively new, just recently actually entered the free-to-play stage on the 16th, and I have to do this recording extremely late, and by extremely late I mean extremely early, like as in the sun is about to be coming up into like 30 minutes or so. But the reason for that is because there's so many players, because this is the first weekend since the game went free to play. This game is called Archeage, if I didn't mention that earlier. I'm not sure if I did or not. As you can see, I'll just get the bad out of the way before I talk about all the amazing features in this game. One of the worst things about this game, the only thing about this game that I can really say that I truly and honestly dislike, is the player housing system. They went for a open world approach as opposed to typically going for a instance approach, and as you can see, that didn't exactly work out very well for them. There are certain, like, it isn't like this around the entire game, because there are certain zones that are limited to housing and certain zones that can't be used. So there's plenty of areas that don't look like this, but any housing zone looks like this, and it's kind of terrible, to say the least. One, because it looks terrible, and two, if you're ever looking for like a spot to place your own farm or house, you're kind of out of luck. And that's what a house looks like when it's unfinished, and as you build on it, which in order to build your house, you get a blueprint for it, which you can get various different ways. And then you use it getting Gilda stars, and you go to Mirage Isle to buy it, but I'll explain that later. You actually have to carry the supplies to the house, and you have to use them in order to build. Like if I check this house, if I check this house right now, you can see what he's put into it. A lot of people, when this game first started, because on the 12th, there was a head start for anyone who kind of pre-ordered the game, I guess you'd call it. This game is technically free to play, but for anyone who paid the extra $50 at the beginning of the 12th, you got a bunch of extra features, including a 4-day head start. And pretty much what everyone did is they just, like, once they got their house, they immediately threw it down. They haven't even started building. As you can see, almost every single house, and he hasn't paid his taxes on this. It might end up going out eventually. There is a tax collection system, which I can go into more depth, but so pretty much you build your house by bringing all the necessary materials to it, and the interesting thing about it is the materials you use to build the house, they don't fit in your backpack like everything else you carry or into your inventory. You actually carry them on your back, and you have to haul them over to your house. And it just adds an interesting aspect to the game because you actually move slower while you're doing it, and it allows pirates to steal your gear from you, which is a really cool aspect of the game as well. But owning any property on the land costs taxes, and I'll show you right now. If I zoom all the way out, this is the 3 different continents in the game, and depending on which race you pick, you'll start on either this one or this one. And the ones that are on this faction, or on this continent, and this continent rather, they're at war with each other, essentially. Like, if you pick someone who starts on this continent, you'll be enemy to anyone who starts on the opposite continent. And the interesting thing is, it kind of has a World of Warcraft approach where you actually have to learn the language of the opposing continent before you can like actually understand what the players in game are typing to you. So that's a pretty cool aspect that you've seen in World of Warcraft if you've ever played. I have never played it, but my friend mentioned to me that there was a system like that in it, and I figured that's something that a lot of people could relate to. And you can freely sail, no loading screens or anything. You can freely sail straight to the next continent. And I'd love to showcase that for you, but I haven't quite gotten that far yet. I'm getting quite close though. And there's a 3rd continent here, which I think that when they unleash the new race that they're talking about releasing rather, not unleashing, that it'll own that land. But the reason I showed you this is because the way the taxes work, if you're on this land or on that land, the first 2 starting continents, depending on your race, the taxes are set by the server. But this up here, this can be conquered by different guilds, and you can build housing on this. And the cool thing is, the area that is conquered, the leader of that guild decides what the taxes of the land are. And if someone else takes it over, they can choose to completely demolish every house on the land. Now, considering how getting the necessary materials for the house, including the blueprint itself, is extremely tedious, you don't actually lose all that stuff. You get the blueprint back, and I don't know if you get the supplies back or not. I certainly would hope so, because getting the supplies to build a house is extremely annoying. It takes a while, or it takes a lot of money, whichever route you decide to go with it. And it's kind of, I just think it's kind of a cool aspect, but the fact that it's so limited, and you know, there's so many people playing this game. If I didn't, I was trying to record this earlier, and I couldn't because there was 4,000 people waiting in queue, which totaled up to be like 3.5 hours of waiting time, which I could sit there and put it in the background and let it run, but I decided to just wait until now because I knew that around this hour there wouldn't be that many people. And this is like 6 in the morning, and still taking consideration, I still had to wait like 500 people. So this game is an extremely hot ticket. Like I said, just kind of sort of recently came out of the head start and is entering into the free to play, and you can download this game completely free. And from what I've seen, it's definitely not pay to win, but there is one good feature about being a member, and that's that your labor will go up a lot faster. Labor is a currency, essentially, that you use to do pretty much any action in the game, other than like fighting people and talking to people. Like when I just uprooted that lavender, it took one of my labor away to do that. There's certain items that are unidentified, and in order to identify them, it takes labor, and you know, just things like that. And most things, they only take like 1, 2, 3 labor, but some things, some of the bigger stuff, can take up to 10 or 20. And I think you can, if you do like some of the really big stuff, like build onto a house, I think it takes even more than that. And I'm sure that there's other things in the game that you can do that'll cost more labor. Like right there, you see it took 10. But if you're not a member, your labor goes up like one every 5 minutes, I think, which is kind of slow, considering that if you are a member, it goes up 5 every 5 minutes, and it also goes up when you're logged out as well. And right now it says you regain 5 labor every 5 minutes while logged in, but do not gain any while logged out. I don't know why it says that. It must be a bug or something. But I actually am a patron in this game, and I actually do get the extra stuff, which is why I have 5,000 labor just about. When you're a patron, you cap out at 5,000. When you're not a patron, I think you cap out at 2,000. So that is a bit of an advantage, but honestly, it's just about the only thing I can see that becoming a member actually does for you. And I mean, obviously there's certain benefits like cash shop stuff, and I think let's see what else it does. Increases experience by 10%, and it allows you to list items in the auction house. Okay, so I guess there's a few things that make it kind of worth your while. I believe patron status costs $15 a month, which I remember when I was a lot younger, $15 a month was never gonna happen. But now that I've got my own job and all that stuff, it's nothing. You know, you make 10 times that in a day. But right now, I probably should have been narrating this instead of talking about my personal life. Right now, I am at my personal farm, which I tell you, this whole place was full except for this one spot. And this was like my second day playing when this all happened. I've played this every single day since the 12th for like many hours on end. And when I got here, all this land was taken. I actually have in my inventory a house that I got just recently, and I cannot place it anywhere on any settlement, city that I've been to. Nowhere is there a free spot. Oh, you can climb trees. So far, there's only been, I want to say, one quest I've ever done that involved actually climbing trees. But I still think it's really cool how they integrated that into the game. Like, it isn't just your typical grind in this game. Sure, there are going to be quests where you go here, kill this thing, go here, kill this thing, go here, collect this item. That's going to be in every MMO. I mean, it's kind of necessary, but fortunately, they do kind of keep it fresh with their own little twists, and I think it's really cool that they do that. And as you can see here, there's not much room that you really get to work with. I'll try to put it as close to that tree as possible, because if there's one thing I've learned at this point with the farming, it's that you seriously want to get as much free space as you possibly can, because when you have a farm this small, it is actually extremely valuable to be able to squeeze one more carrot in, or one more something else. And you find yourself, if you're not careful with your placement, you find yourself in a lack of space for this kind of stuff. So I want to kind of just squeeze this bamboo tree as close as possible. And this is honestly the first MMO I've personally ever played where you have the option to go and do like so many different types of jobs, I suppose you would call them, but you can't be bothered to because there's so much to do that... What the hell? Why is there a quest there? I don't know, I'm gonna go check it out. But yeah, as I was saying, there's so much to do and just doing one job, like whether it's farming, mining, metalworking, like armor smith and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter because it takes a lot of time to do it. And you're often put in a position where you can't exactly do everything that's required of you. You're kind of... You give other people purpose because you kind of have to rely on buying stuff sometimes in order to get through a certain quest, unless you want to take a lot of your time to do it yourself. And it's really hard to take an hour to grow a plant when you could just buy it for like 30 silver or something and just finish the quest immediately. So you kind of sometimes rely on that, which is really cool because I've lost my farm. I just... Oh, there it is. I just think it's a really cool thing because, I mean, you feel like whenever you're doing your job and you have a surplus of materials, you can sell it, and people will actually buy it because they're kind of in the same boat that you are. You know, they need to do stuff, they need to acquire certain materials, and they can't gather it themselves, or they just feel like it's more convenient if they bought it from you. So there is a pirate system in this game, and I wish I could show you. I did have some criminal points, but I've completely gotten rid of them because there's a whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Public service? Public something. Damn, I don't know why I can't think of the word right now. It's when you get in trouble, and then they let you out, or they don't let you out necessarily, but they, instead of sentencing you to jail, they sentence you to go doing like public work in order to work it off. I wish I could think of I can tell you the damn description, but I can't think of the name. I think it's public something, but so yeah, you can kind of do that in this game if you do anything illegal, which illegal activities would be like messing with other people's items, which if it's in their property, you can't mess with it. Like, if it's within your farm or house limits, you can't mess with it. But if they, like, say, plant a tree outside of a safe area and you mess with it, technically you can, because they planted it outside of a safe area, but it's still illegal. And there's a chance, I'm not sure what the chance is depending on. I'm not sure if, like, if you're a thief, if there's less of a chance of it happening. But there's a chance that, like, you'll leave footprints behind, and by doing that, like, anyone who sees the footprints, they can report you. And it's not like you'll get banned kind of report. You'll actually get, if you work up enough points from being bad, you'll eventually get to the point where if you die, you'll automatically go to a you'll go to a courthouse and you'll get judged, and it'll actually take real players from the game and have them be your jury. And they'll kind of they'll see your crimes and what you've done, what you've been reported for, and then they all can kind of, well, of course, as the player, you can defend yourself, but, I mean, usually, you're not going to get people who are going to actually, like, be legit about it, you know. Odds are, they're just going to look at your reports, and they're probably just going to sentence you to the max, which, from what I've seen, the maximum sentence is 30 minutes. So when you go to prison for whatever time they sentence you for, you can actually escape from the prison. There's like various different activities you can do while you're in prison. I believe one of them is digging dirt, and you can actually dig up a key, which unlocks like a glider tower, and you can climb up it, get a free glider, and get out of prison. And I think it's really cool that they just kind of integrated all that into the game, because it kind of makes it feel more like a single-player MMO. Or not, well, that doesn't make any sense. A single-player RPG is what I meant to say. And I think that's what a lot of games do wrong, is that they are like a lot of single-player RPGs, like Skyrim, for example. You can't make that into an online game. You could make it like local online, like 4 people or something like that. That'd be awesome. But to make it an MMO, it's just ridiculous. So this is the glider feature, and it's probably one of the most awesome features about this game. And you can just kind of sort of glide around. And I purchased one of the special gliders, so they have a couple abilities. I can rain down fire, which actually does damage. I can shoot arrows to do glider battles, like sneak up behind another glider and shoot them. And this was my boost. It like propels you higher, so it takes you longer to land. You can slow down, you can speed up, you can do barrel rolls. It's pretty cool. There's an assortment of different gliders you can get, and there's all different types of customizations you can do for certain gliders as well. Like you can put your own custom emblems on them and stuff. It's really cool, some of the stuff that they allow you to do. I'm actually falling at like a very slow rate right now, because when you're holding back, which is what I'm doing, you fall a lot slower. But I don't want to overpass this town, because I actually have business I need to do, so I'm just going to fall. Hope for the best. Alright. Stop running that way. So, mainly what I do in this game, I do a bit of farming and I do a bit of metal work. I don't really go very far in either. But, currently, I'm trying to get the materials for my house. So if I ever find a dang place to plot it, I can actually, you know, build it. Because, like I said, you have to actually carry the supplies on your back. Like you see that guy, he has a pack on his back. He's riding a mule right now, which makes him go a lot quicker while he's carrying one of those. Donkeys, or mules, whatever you want to refer to them as, are really the only way that you can go from a crawl to a decent speed. Now, there are public transportation. There's carriage conductors. These carriages are just kind of like taxis. They just kind of taxi down the road to the next place, drop you off, another one picks you up, so on and so forth. And then you've got airships, which travel much greater distances, but they take a lot longer to come back. And so I haven't done any of the PvP in this game yet, but I am level 30, and from what I've seen, that's about the time when PvP kind of becomes a big part of the game, because as you can see from the map here, there's certain continents that they have a red glow around them, and that essentially means that they're at war, or they're getting close to becoming at war. And you can see here, you can earn additional honor by PvPing during a war. You can also steal honor through PvP kills in a conflict or war. See, I didn't even know that, but that's really cool. And these wars, they won't happen in like the starting areas. Like this is the starting area for the elves. This is the starting areas for the Nuians or the humans, whatever you want to refer to them as. And then like you'll never go into danger zones there. I think I've seen danger zones in 2 Crowns before, but besides that, I think all these places are safe. And you can actually like get boats in this game, like really, really big galleon ships, and sail a huge amount of supplies across to an enemy continent and sell it on their end, because it's worth a lot more if you do that. You get Gilda stars if you ship things across the continents, which I'll show you in just a moment after I start this. Might as well work and talk at the same time. But right here, Gilda stars. It's a type of currency that you use on Mirage Isle, which is pretty much a gathering point for all the races, like a peaceful gathering point where all the races can come together, and they can trade, and you use it to purchase a lot of the game's more like long-term items like houses, boats, mounts, stuff like that. Stuff that you normally wouldn't get in the game. And I really gotta stress again how kind of annoying it is that they've done this with the player housing. I really hope that they just suck it up and turn it into an instance-based thing eventually. I'm not sure if they will, but I'd be happy if they did, because I'm kind of just fed up with it. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna sell that. I'm gonna sell. Gotta make room. I think that's it. And yep. Sell a bunch of this crap over here. Some of the stuff, some certain types of weapons and armor can only be sold to shopkeepers because they're bound to you. I don't think I can even sell this. No, cannot sell. Okay. Sell that. The stuff I got from farming, however, I'm actually going to put that on the auction house because I can, and sell it for a nicer amount. And my strategy with the auction house, I don't know if I'd even call it a strategy. It's pretty simple. I only need 20 of those for that quest I'm doing. I just put it up. It automatically puts the price to the lowest price currently in the auction house. I just lower it a little bit more. Set it for a 24-hour timer. This is the starting bid, which... Oh, snap. 28.35. That's problematic. You can't put something on the auction house for less than its shop price. So I can't even sell that right now. Like, if I can, but if I do, I'm gonna have to sell it at this price. It literally can't, yeah, like, I think that's the lowest it can go. Can it go lower? No, no, it's already set to the lowest. So I'm not even gonna sell it right now. I'm gonna wait for the price to go up on it. Pelt. You can turn it to leather and sell it, but for some reason it sells for more while it's in its smaller form. Like, because you can, like, turn it into leather, and I think it takes 3 leather to make a pelt. But despite the fact that you'll end up with less leather, you'd think that you'd make up for it in money, but you don't. It seems like the more you refine items and get them closer to their final form, the less that they sell for. And I'm assuming that's because you sell items for higher when they're in their smaller form, because people get experience by turning them into, or, like, refining them into their more advanced forms. And I suppose that makes sense. Okay, this actually sells for a decent amount. I might start growing more bamboo. I put a bunch of olive trees because I seen how much olives sell for the last time. I was going to buy some olives to help me complete this quest I'm doing, which is which quest is the olive quest? I have a quest that requires, oh, it's this one. That's a trading quest, which they have you do, and you don't technically have to do them, but I'm one of those perfectionist people who I want to complete every quest I do. So I'm not going to sell my cape because I can't sell my cape. I'm just going to throw it back in there, and I seen silver. There it is. Technically I can craft a silver bar, but I'm going to wait, even though it'll give me 3, and I could probably use it for something. But I'm going to wait anyway. I've got 100 iron. That's how much you need to make a pack. I would make it, but the thing is, like I said, you carry it on your back, and there's nowhere I can put it right now except for back at my farm, and I don't really want to do that and go through that process because it's kind of a waste, because then you have to, like, monitor it and make sure that it stays there, because after, I think in 5 days it despawns if you don't pick it back up. So I'm just gonna not do that. But I've kind of showed you a lot of the, you know, housing, farming stuff. I haven't actually showed off any battles. There are really, really awesome battles in this game, and I'd like to showcase some of that if I can. I actually don't even need to use my... Oh, people are buying my stuff like crazy. I don't need to use my what do you call it? I was going to use a teleport scroll pretty much, but I forgot I have my recall point set to the furthest town I've made it to, which I think is a really good idea to do, by the way. And I can just recall there for no cost, because making more teleport scrolls is kind of annoying. They're not technically called teleport scrolls, but I'm going to call them that because that's pretty much what they are. So the loading isn't too bad, at least I don't think so personally. I mean, it takes a minute, but I'm assuming that, you know, with the huge server loads they're dealing with, it's kind of problematic in that regard, and I don't really blame it. I mean, they could not have been prepared for the huge freaking hit that they got. I mean, I knew that this was going to be a great game. While everyone was playing Destiny, this was what I was playing. But I mean, I don't think that they expected it to get smacked as hard as it did, and it did. It got hit really hard to the point where people were waiting hours and hours to log in. When this game first, oh man, it was terrible the first day, because everyone was at the starting area, and there was like hundreds of thousands of people just sitting at the starting area. Oh, I've actually got to go down here for this quest. But it was just absolutely terrible, because like one of the first quests you do is you have to kill so many of, well, that was quick. You have to kill so many of a certain monster, and there's only like 3 or 4 that spawn in the area, and there was like 250 people standing in that one area, and it just made it insanely impossible. Unless you got into a raid, which is like pretty much a massive party in this game. Instead of only holding like 5 people, a raid can hold like 30 something, I think. No, I think it's even more than that. I don't know what I'm talking about. But maybe I can show you some of the fighting. Now, first things first, I actually only recently learned this, and I felt stupid. You have to have your mount out in order for your mount to get experience while you're fighting. Now, true enough, he gets experience while you ride him around, but while he's out for your battles, he gets more experience that way. And that's kind of important because he has his own set statistics. He has health, mana, experience. You can equip him with different types of armor, and he actually gets his own skills. He has like a boost skill. You may have seen me use that a few times. Eventually you can start fighting with him even, and doing other various things with him. And each mount has their own different skills. I've also got a donkey here, which I call a little paladin. And I trained him up a lot because I wanted to get him high level so he could help me carry trade packs, which he has efficiently done, and I love him for that. Ain't that right, little paladin? Which is something I should probably mention, by the way. My class is technically a paladin. The class system in this game is really interesting. You don't start with a class. You don't select a class at level 10. You periodically, well, technically you start with a class, I guess you'd call it, but when you first load up the game, you can pick one of 5 different starting classes. And then once you hit, I believe, level 5, you select your second, and then once you hit level 10, you select your third. And the combination of the 3 classes actually makes your set class. And as you can see up there in the top left when I hover over this, it says Occupation Paladin. That's because the combination of Vitalism, is that what it's called? Is there Vitalism? I don't know, one or the other. Vitalism, Defense, and Battle Rage, which is essentially a healer, a tank, and a warrior. It makes a paladin, and you can combine any of the classes together. You are not restricted in any way, shape, or form. However, it does seem like there are a few abilities that can only be activated using certain weapon sets. Although you're not restricted to any specific weapon set to your class either. But if you have 2 different skill set or 2 different classes essentially, and each of them require a different weapon, then you either have to change weapons on the fly, or you just have to deal with not using a certain skill set, which can be kind of annoying. Now, me personally, I really enjoy doing the whole one-handed sword shield type deal. It's kind of my personal preference, and that's my play style. But I think it's awesome how they give you the option. And I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not. This is something my friend mentioned to me a few times, and I haven't personally experienced it, but they said that the job that you are, like me being a paladin, you can actually be hired to do your job. And as a paladin, that doesn't sound very exciting, but like being an assassin or a joker or a jester, a clown, whatever they call it, you know, being a thief, all that stuff, being able to be hired to do like hit jobs and stuff like that, that'd be really cool. And like I said, I haven't actually experienced that, but if there is any truth to that, then that would be a really awesome feature in the game as well. I think that would be really cool. But the PvP in this game, being open world as it is, I think there are like arenas that you can fight in as well. But pretty much how the PvP works, I think the rules are different when you're actually in a continent that's at war. But you can go to an enemy's continent and they can come to your continent. And I think the person whose homeland you're on has to start the battle. So, say if the enemy team came over to my continent and I ran up to them, they couldn't actually hit me unless I hit them first. So, even though the world is, or even though the PvP is open world, they can't actually damage me unless I damage them first. And of course, the same thing would go if I was in their land. I couldn't hit them unless they hit me first. I'm assuming that's to prevent people from coming over and like killing new players and stuff. But of course, as I said, I'm pretty sure when you get into these areas that are in danger or in war, it's a no hold barred, so they can do whatever they want, kill you, and it doesn't matter who struck first type deal. And of course, besides the two nations, you do have that one continent up top that is kind of, like I said, you know, it doesn't belong to anyone. You can kind of go up there and claim it for your own with your guild. And the really interesting thing about this game is, if you don't want to be in a guild, you can actually become a pirate, which is something I've mentioned many times, and I suppose I should actually go into a little bit more detail about what it is. A pirate, essentially, is someone who, usually on the sea, but not always, steals other people's stuff. Now, I can't really showcase it here because I'm nowhere near water. I mean, there's some lakes around me, but I do have a starting boat. I haven't purchased an upgraded version yet. Definitely the next thing I'm going to get. But you can ship your goods across seas to other continents, which I mentioned earlier. And you can sell them across seas for a lot more than you can sell them just by shipping them from locally. And which is really awesome, but you risk being encountered by a pirate. And they can easily come up to you. They can use their ship's hooks, which are like grapples, grapple onto your ship and force you to engage with them. And then, of course, you will have to fight it out with them. And depending on like the crew that you have on your ship, you may win, you may lose, whatever. And the really cool thing is, if you're a pirate and you kill the enemy, or if you kill the team that you're attacking, you can actually take all the loot on their boat and you can sell it to a shadow dealer and make money that way. And you can be a pirate. And if you become a pirate, you actually can't join a guild. You have to join like a pirate's guild. And so it's kind of like think in the sense of you're an actual guild that you see in an MMO, like any Elder Scrolls game. When you join a guild, you know, you're not just joining a group of people like most MMORPGs are. You're joining a group of people who specialize in something, which is a really cool feature. Like, I don't know why games haven't done that before. Like, if you have a thieves guild in a game, they should do things that are related to that. They shouldn't just be another guild, you know? And I just think that's really cool. And I think the Pirates Guild is right here. Yeah, there's the Pirate Guild Manager. There might be another one somewhere. And this is Sunspec C. And this is supposed to be a really, I don't know what the hell's on that island exactly, but I've heard that really good items are on there, and like everyone is constantly there, like just slaughtering each other, trying to get the rare loot. So I think that's pretty cool. I might eventually, like, when I get higher level, I think the level cap is 50, and I'm 30 right now, which, honestly, me personally, it's probably the quickest I've grinded to this level, but it ain't crap compared to some of the people who, like, no-life this game when it first came out, who hit level 50 within the first day or two. It's kind of insane. I should also mention that the storyline in this game, probably the first storyline in an MMORPG that I actually listened to and enjoyed. You know, most times it's just you accept the quest and you just completely ignore what the hell's going on. You just want to accept it so you can go do it, turn it in, and get your experience for it. And I just realized this whole time that I'm supposed to actually be using these on these earth elementals. To complete a quest that I'm in the middle of doing. Which is no big deal, I'll just do it now. I think I'm actually going to, if I can, I'm trying to think of where one might be. Like, find a, elite boss to fight, maybe? And, like, show you guys how that is. Because, I mean, it's really not anything you haven't seen in any other MMORPG. But I just think it's really cool to, like, have a whole group of people go and gang up on a world boss and kill it. But, there are some instance dungeons in this game. I've been through about 2 or 3 of them. It's pretty cool, but that's about all I've seen since I've played is about 2 or 3 of them. You know, a lot of other MMORPGs, they really rely on instance dungeons. In this game, it doesn't seem like it really cares too much about them, which is fine by me. You know, I never really was a huge fan of it. But I think it's really cool that there's like some quests that you'll do when you're level, say, 13 or 14, and then when you hit like level 30, 32, you'll get a quest to go back to that same dungeon and do it again. But instead, this time, you invite one of the rookies, like one of the people who are level 13 and 14, to go in it with you, and you kind of like mentor them through the dungeon. And I just think it's kind of cool how they have you do that. Ooh, werefox. What the hell is that thing? Looks weird. Alright, well, let's see. I'm pretty sure this recording's been going on for a while, and in all honesty, there are hundreds of things I could sit here and tell you guys about this game. It is definitely, in my own personal opinion, everyone has their own personal opinions, but it is definitely my favorite MMORPG ever made. Like, the last MMORPG I actually played and stuck with for more than 2 or 3 days was RuneScape, and that was when I was like 14 years old. And, well, needless to say, it's been a really long time since I've actually enjoyed an MMORPG. And I was actually waiting for Bless Online to come over to America, which apparently it's not going to until like the end of next year or maybe even later, so... That being the case, I'm actually really excited that there was an MMORPG that was released that I actually got behind and I actually enjoy playing because I'm not really a huge shooter guy. Like, that's kind of the reason why I didn't really get into Destiny. It's not necessarily that I didn't think Destiny would be a great game. And if you want my personal opinion, I think Destiny is going to wipe Call of Duty off the map. I think it's going to be the game to do it. I think it's going to do what Titanfall tried to do and didn't quite do. I'm not saying Titanfall wasn't any good either. I'm just saying people didn't forget about Call of Duty just because Titanfall came out. I think that Destiny is going to have that effect in Call of Duty. I think they're going to see a lot of reduced sales for the Advanced Warfare game. I think that it's going to kind of flop in comparison to Destiny. But anyways, guys, that's just my personal opinion, and that isn't about this game. But I think that's going to do it for this game. I spent a lot more time talking about like the farming and housing aspects of the game than I intended to do. But, I mean, there's just so many different things you can do in this game. I mean, look at all these different occupations that you can do. It's not as simple as just making weapons, armor, clothing, and food. You know, you got a bunch of different things you can do here. And every single one of these professions, they have an extreme amount of work you have to put into them, and you have to borrow materials from other things. You know, you got like your bare bones professions like logging, which is as simple as cutting down trees and like turning them into logs. And then you got your more advanced professions like cooking, for example, that you can't just cook. You have to get the ingredients first, which you'll get from like a gatherer. Or you, like, say you want to do metalworking, but you have to get the metal from someone who is mined it up. And, you know, stuff like that. And it's cool that you just kind of work together. And it is a completely player-run economy for the most part. I mean, with the whole auction house, you do have some shops that are set up, like around here. You do have like general merchants and stuff to sell some things to, and you can buy some things from them. But a lot of the things you get in the game are going to be sold to other players. And a lot of things that you need, you're going to buy from other players, or you're going to make yourself. So I think it's really cool how it isn't something like the auction house is, like, it's not just there, it's actually kind of necessary. So, I gotta say, I'll just repeat this once more. Not giving it some more thought, I actually thought of something else as well. But one thing I extremely dislike about the game is the public housing system being so crowded. It's impossible to find a lot for yourself. It's really just a shame. But another thing, and this is something that every MMORPG does, really, and that's you get all of your gear from questing. It kind of eliminates the purpose of like buying gear, because you get it from questing. Now, granted, you can like make better gear by metalworking it, and you can find better gear by killing enemies for it, and you can buy it from the auction house. But what I'm saying is, why do they have merchants in the game that sell like certain swords and shields and stuff when it's always going to be worse than the stuff you get from the quest? There's just no point, is what I'm getting at, you know. But I mean, like, that's not necessarily just, you know, something I don't like about this game. That's just something I don't like about any MMO I play. So I'm not really gonna, I mean, if anything, the makers of this game should take it as a compliment, because I'm kind of having to dig for things I don't like about this game, because there's really just not that many of them. Okay, bamboo and pelt. Got a couple gold off that. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It carried on a lot longer than I expected it, but when I think about it, there's so many things in this game, I could never cover them all, even if I wanted to. So I kind of just wanted to cover some of the things about it that I enjoy about it, and a couple of things I dislike about it, and perhaps see what you guys think on this game if you haven't played it for yourself. As I said, it is completely free to play, and I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think you would really need an extremely powerful system to play this game, because it runs extremely well for me on max settings. Granted, I have a relatively powerful computer, but it has very little stuttering even when you're in very crowded areas, so I think it's okay. I mean, it's a beautiful game, but let's face it, the graphics aren't like amazing quality by any means. Although I think you will be pretty impressed by how some of the visuals of the mages are, some of the spellcasting. But other than that, it's pretty standard. I do think that the game would have benefited from a more action-styled combat, with like right-clicking to block, left-clicking to swing your sword or to shoot your bow. You know, that's kind of like an approach that a lot of games are taking, and this game, you know, stuck with the traditional press this button to use this ability, you know, that kind of approach, not really going with the action-based approach that, like I said, more MMOs are kind of heading towards. But you know, it was a personal preference on my end, and I don't dislike the game any because of it, but I'm just, you know, personally, I think it would have been cool to have a action style combat system over a just click to kill fighting system. But yeah, as I said, that's just kind of my opinion. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here before I keep babbling on, because I swear about 10 minutes ago I said I was gonna end this video soon, and I just keep coming up with more points and more points about this game, because like I said, there's just too much in this game for me to cover. But anyways, guys, definitely check this game out if you're interested in MMORPGs. It's not every day that I do a video on these games, and I probably won't do another one on another MMORPG for a really long time. But definitely look forward to some of the games coming out in October and November. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Hope you're enjoying me coming back and making videos, because I kind of missed it, in all honesty. It takes me out of the hostility of reality. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, guys, take it easy.